Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Coaches from the Couch podcast. The two-man days are over. Jacob has rejoined us. He is back from Florida.
Hell yeah.
How was
Let's
Florida?
go.
Florida was great. I was there for 10 days, got some good color. May have possibly broken my foot.
I say, let us know about it. Go ahead and tell the people about your ankle.
Yeah, I guess this is a sports podcast, so it is my foot, not my ankle.
Okay.
I'm way too athletic to hurt my ankle.
Potato,
It's my
potato.
foot. But I tried to skimboard for the first time. First time I ever tried to skimboard. Those things are slippery. They're
A little bit.
So it came out from under me, done a nice little bend on my foot, was swollen for about a week. And it's honestly been swollen since yesterday, but I think it's starting to get better finally.
Okay.
Starting to finally get better. But that's enough about woe is me. Florida was great. Thanks for asking. But I think that we have an absolutely loaded schedule to talk about today. So, Jaden, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, we got some NBA stuff. We had free agency. Started last Friday. And yeah, we got a lot of deals. What deals have you seen go down, Carson?
Yes, I mean, there has been multiple. First guy I want to talk about, I'm going to throw out there is one of my favorite underrated centers I talked about last show, Brook Lopez, returning to the Bucks. I think that is a great fit for the Bucks. They paid him. I don't know the exact numbers, but they paid him a lot of money. And actually, his brother reunited with him. So more WWE before the games. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. That doesn't excite me too much. I don't really care about the WWE, but I do care about Brook Lopez. I think he's really important to their defense, and I think that is a very important and crucial player, as well as Chris Middleton, for them to re-sign.
Little interesting fact. Did you know that Robin Lopez went to play on the Magic because he has a house in Disney World and he wanted to be close to Disney World?
I did see that.
He doesn't. I mean, Brook's different, but Robin Lopez doesn't really strike me as a basketball first guy. Like, he doesn't really strike me as a guy.
It's
that
a side
prioritizes-
hobby.
Yeah, for sure. That pays pretty well. So, yeah, good for the Bucks retaining that very important piece.
Yeah, and then sticking with the Bucks, they actually got They got a Laker in Malik Beasley, and Malik Beasley is he's a really good 3-point shooter, really good 3-and-D guy. Anytime you can get a 3-and-D guy, we've seen that throughout the playoffs that they work out very well, and I think that he's a good pickup as well. I think he kind of reminds me of a Wesley Matthews when he was there with the Milwaukee. What do you guys think about Malik Beasley?
Yeah, well, I think that they're obviously not gonna sign a guy they aren't gonna use, right? If they're gonna sign a guy, they're gonna use him. But it does worry me how he fell out of the rotation last year for the Lakers, especially in the crucial games. So I think the Bucks are gonna be able to use him more to his advantage. But I think it's a good pickup. I'm a big 3-and-D guy. I think any player that's 3-and-D is important or can bring value to any team. So really good pickup.
I think Scottie Pippen Jr. is probably pretty happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah.
I don't get it.
Malik Beasley was dating his mom.
I saw that.
Wow. Oh, that's right. But now she's with Michael Jordan's son. That's right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, and then so another big news is the Houston Rockets made a lot of big moves. They got Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet. They traded, I believe, Kenyon Martin Jr. I think Houston had a weird free agency. I think Dylan Brooks actually has a place in the NBA. I think he gets obviously talked down upon, but I think he does have a spot in the NBA. I don't know if he's worth $20 million though. I really don't. I don't know about that, but I think he's a solid player. I think you need that guy to win a championship.
Yeah, it's interesting how they've opted to just go ahead and spend money rather than doing maybe the traditional rebuild route. I mean, Fred VanVleet, that's a star level player. Like, that's not a cheap player to get. So an interesting path. Maybe they really believe in their young core, obviously, and they think they were just a few pieces away from being at least a playoff team in the West.
Well, a little something interesting that might explain why they spent so much money that I read on Twitter, and I actually didn't know until about a couple days ago, is that the NBA has a rule that teams with a bunch of cap, or just anybody, has to spend 90% of their cap, or else they have to give that money to the NBA.
Gotcha.
So those teams that have a ton of cap space, they have to spend that money somewhere. So that's what Houston did, and that's a good thing, I think. You don't want teams playing it cheap and just the same teams are in the lottery every single year. You want people to compete. So.
Well, the other thing is Houston's a really big market. That's the other thing. So they're a team that can be back soon just because of the size of their market and
the young talent they have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think Ime is a good coach too.
Oh yeah, he is. He maybe not a good husband, but he is a good coach. And if James Harden showed you anything from the Rockets, you can have some one-night stands down there in Houston that are very memorable.
Yes.
So I think Houston could actually be back on top very soon.
Yes, so they got Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, is it Jock Londale from Phoenix?
Jack.
It says Jock.
Is it like GAC or?
Gock.
Maybe it's Jock then. Maybe I was wrong.
But
should have been know-it-all.
Yeah, but anyway, they signed him and Jeff Green.
Nice.
So a lot of veterans there too. They got 4 veterans. I mean, 2 guys have won championships out of that group. Dylan Brooks has been successful, and Londale's been in the Western Conference Finals. So a lot of experience they signed. And then now let's get to the Indiana Pacers.
Hell yeah.
So the Indiana Pacers, obviously, you extend Tyrese Halliburton.
What?
Huge. Get O'Shea Brissett is gone. That is one guy we did lose.
What?
Bruce Brown.
What?
Is an Indiana Pacer.
What?
And Obi Toppin.
Toppin.
I think the Pacers did a really good job. They hit in the draft. They got what they wanted. Free agency got what they wanted because obviously when you pay that much to Bruce Brown, you got what you wanted. You wanted him. So I think they got their targets in the draft and in free agency. I think Pritchard is happy, and I'm happy as a Pacer fan. What do you guys think?
Absolutely, and here's what I think that these moves tell me. I think that these moves tell me that they're not ready for Tyrese Halliburton to become a star next year or the year after. They're ready. He's a superstar now. He is our superstar. We signed him to a max contract, right? These moves tell me that they didn't feel like they needed to get an OG Anunoby or maybe someone like a Jeremy Grant because they got re-signed. Whoever those people are. These moves tell me that they're ready for Tyrese Halliburton to be the centerpiece, and then either Miles Turner or Benedict to be the other centerpiece, and they're ready to contend.
And Bruce Brown, we've talked so much about him, and I think the last episode, actually, we talked about how he is a great pickup for whoever signs him. Just throw him the bag. And we didn't expect him to go to the Pacers, but that's what happened. And a lot of people think we overpaid for him, but really the contract is really kind of like a 1-year deal with an option. It's not just a big 2-year deal. So I think it's worth it. I think you get to see if he's worth the money. I think he is. And we could even use him off the bench or start him. He's very versatile. I'm glad to have him on the team, for sure.
And just to piggyback off that, the other thing, yes, it's true. The Indiana Pacers did overpay for Bruce Brown. But the bottom line is, if the Bucks are offering a contract, the Heat are offering a contract, and like the Mavericks, for example, are offering a contract, you're going to have to overpay to get that good player. And that's what the Pacers did. They overplayed to get a really, really, really good player.
Yeah, and then so I already touched on anything more on the Pacers?
Nope.
Nope, okay. And I already touched on that Londale leaving Phoenix. So now let's go to Phoenix. Phoenix made a lot of moves. I think they had a really good free agency. I know, obviously, they got Bradley Beal started off, but everybody was saying, like, they're not going to have enough money to sign people. I don't know where they're getting their money, but they signed a crap ton of people, and this team has depth now. So I think this team is scary now. I really do. I mean, someone gets hurt, the next man up. They have veterans that have been there, done that. I mean, yes, they're not the best veterans, but they have Eric Gordon. I mean, that's a solid backup.
Right. Took a pay cut, too.
Yeah. Damian Lee was on the Warriors. He showed out a couple years
legend.
now. Yeah, exactly. And then they got Keita Bates-Diop from the Spurs, very underrated player. He just didn't get much love because the Spurs were terrible.
Right.
So I think, and they got Drew Eubanks from Portland. I think this is a good backup replacement for Londale and for Ayton, because Ayton doesn't stay on the floor that much.
And they got Utah.
Watanabe.
That dude is a sniper. He's like a 50% catch and shoot.
They lost Londale, and they lost Torrey Craig, which is actually a pretty big loss.
Right.
But they got Eric Gordon, re-signed Damian Lee, signed Keita Bates-Diop, signed Drew Eubanks, and then that Chimazi Mitu from the Kings got him, and then they re-signed Josh Okogie and that U2 Watanabe or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Phoenix Suns, they got some backups. And I think they're, like, all in right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's kind of this saying, and one of the reasons I wasn't super duper worried about the Suns is the saying, if you build it, they will come, right? If you build anything, people are going to come. And I think that the Suns were able to get that core of those 4 players. They traded away a lot. They lost a lot of depth, but then they were able to sign a lot of these really good veterans to really, really, really team-friendly contracts.
And they're still not the deepest team in the NBA by any means, but With what their cap space was looking like before free agency and what they have now, I think they crushed it.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. So moving on to the Brooklyn Nets now. The Brooklyn Nets, they re-signed Cam Johnson to a big contract.
Huge contract.
Which I think Cam Johnson, though, I think he deserves it. I mean, he has that body. He's a 6'10" small forward. He can dribble. I think he earned it. And then they lost Seth Curry to the Dallas Mavericks. Perfect fit for Seth Curry, I think. Helps Luka out tremendously. We'll get to the Mavs here in a second.
One of my most underrated players in the NBA. By the
Seth
way.
Curry?
Or my most underrated
Well,
player
he's smart.
in the NBA. Yeah.
And then Nets did sign Dennis Smith Jr., Lonnie Walker, and then they lost that Watanabe and Drew Smith. I don't even know who that is, but they lost some players, but they also re-signed and gained some players. So I think the Nets did okay. I think they're in a weird situation. They're in the talks for Damian Lillard, but I'm hearing pretty much Damian Lillard is straight heat. But I mean,
yeah.
We'll get on that later. So what do you guys think about the Nets so far? Re-signing Cam Johnson.
I like it. I think that I think they really trust Michael, and I think that they trust Cam. And I think Michael, I think he's a guy. Like, I really think he's a guy. I think they did really good in those Kyrie Irvings and Kevin Durant trades. And I think that I love their future. I honestly, if I was a Nets fan, I'd be excited right now. Like, I'd be an excited Nets fan right now.
Yeah, for a failed super team a couple years ago when you had Kyrie, KD, Harden, it all fell apart. I think they reset in the right way. They've got great pieces around their team. Mikal Bridges, like we just talked about, he broke out last year. Nobody knew he could create a shot. And, man, he is a great scorer. So I think they're one of those teams that they have cap room, they have assets to go add somebody to that team like a Damian Lillard that could make a powerful
I'd love
team.
Damian Lillard on their team. I'd like that a lot.
Because they have a lot of defenders around them, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what I was about to say is, like, they're used to the whole gathering people up, getting people. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett,
Right.
and who's the other one? From the Celtics. Didn't they get one more?
Maybe.
Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce.
I think they got one
They
more.
had Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson,
Yeah.
that's who it was. And they got a big three there. Next thing you know, that didn't work out. That was like one of the worst trades of all time.
What year was that? When was that?
2010 maybe?
I was about to say, was that like the start of super teams? Like, as we know them?
And it didn't turn out to be
I'm
one,
just
though.
wondering, was that before LeBron to the Heat?
I know. I think
that was after.
that affected the Nets, though, all the way up till, I think, Jason Tatum.
No kidding.
I think Jason Tatum was one of their picks.
Yep.
And that trickled all the way down to 2017,
Yeah.
18, whatever he got drafted. So that didn't work out for them. And then, like you guys said, the Harden, the KD, and then who was the other player?
Harden, KD, Kyrie.
Kyrie. It didn't work out. And then now that they're away from this, looking back, look at the D'Angelo Russell year when it was just him and Jared Dudley. When Jared Dudley's having beef with Ben Simmons, that's the last time they made the playoffs.
Right.
Besides the Kevin
And
Durant
speaking
year.
Mm-hmm.
of the devil, Ben Simmons.
Well, last year they were in the play-in, they might have been in the playoffs. Were they just in the play-in? But I just know their team was so weird. They just had all players that were on different teams a couple months ago.
And then you got like Michael Bridges not used to that number one role, which now he got a little bit more. He got more touches in it last year, so I think he'll be ready for it next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so I said if we'd get into Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks, they re-signed Kyrie Irving, big contract. They re-signed Dwight Powell. They signed Seth Curry, and then they lost Justin Holiday, former Pacer. But I think, obviously they don't have too much money to work with, but they did re-sign Kyrie Irving to a big contract, and then they got Dwight Powell and Seth Curry. I think they're kind of looking at it like, all right, well, we're still trying to go win now. I think we're still trying. I mean, it's one of those things, I think, when you trade for Kyrie Irving, as much as you gave up, yeah, you got to bring him back. I mean, because you look like a complete idiot.
Especially the GM, that's his whole reputation.
Yeah.
His reputation right now is built on, I brought Kyrie Irving in. If you let him go, what's that say?
Yeah, exactly. You're already giving up after, it's not even half a year. It wasn't even half a year.
Exactly.
So it's just, he has to stick with them even if he doesn't want to deep down.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You better hope it works out because before they brought in Kyrie, they were number 2 in the West. So they didn't even make the playoffs last year. The pressure is on.
I think that they're too good not to make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
They're just too talented.
Luka is one of those players that, regardless of who the players are, if you have Luka, you're most likely going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah, so then I want to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, this might take 30 minutes because they got a lot of people.
Yeah.
They got a lot of people and they lost a lot of people. So Austin Reeves re-signs, big for them. Rui Hachimura re-signs, big for them. D'Angelo Russell re-signs, huge for them. Which I'm surprised they got D'Angelo Russell back considering they got Reeves. They also got Gabe Vincent back. Lost Dennis Schroeder to Toronto. Lost Troy Brown to the Timberwolves. Signed Cam Reddish. Signed Jackson Hayes. Signed Taurean Prince. Lost Malik Beasley. And lost Lonnie Walker. So they've had a busy free agency. I think the guys they've brought in are, legitimate players. I think some of them still have to show out, like Cam Reddish. He's had struggles in the NBA so far of late, but he's still young. He's very young, so I think we can see what he can bring out for the Lakers. I mean, this team is guard heavy though. I mean, three guards that play that need to be on the floor. Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and I think they even have more. Jalen Hood-Schifino they just drafted.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of guys, a lot of depth at that position.
Yeah, I'm sort of maybe not dumbfounded, but I just don't understand their philosophy.
I don't think they do either.
Yeah, honestly, I think with LeBron, I think you just get again back to that 3-and-D. You just get a bunch of 3-and-D wings around him, and let LeBron do his thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't quite understand the moves.
I don't think their team is much improved from the same team that couldn't get it done last year. They didn't move the needle enough for me.
See, and I think what's crazy, they have every capability in the world to look like the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks, they have Giannis. Look what they do with Giannis. They get a bunch of 3-and-D guys, and then their center is Brook Lopez, who's a really good shooter now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, Anthony Davis could be that guy. Run him at your 5. He does not need to play your 4.
Yeah.
They don't. I feel like the Lakers are still stuck in the fact that he needs to play the 4 at 6'11".
Right.
The NBA is different. I mean, you don't need a Jackson Hayes. You don't need Jackson Hayes. He's a good backup center.
For sure.
I don't know what their plan is. They lost Mo Bamba too. I saw that. I don't think they know what they're doing. Like I said, I don't think they know what they're doing, and I think they're just playing it by ear.
Yeah.
I don't even think they know what they're doing.
It probably has something to do with Anthony Davis's health. He can't stay healthy, so they don't want him banging down there with centers all season.
Right. The one thing that kind of differs them, or one of the many things that differs them from the Bucks, is the J-Rue holidays. They don't grow on trees. But honestly, they got Gabe Vincent's pretty close to J-Rue Holiday.
Will he be the same though outside of Heat culture?
That's exactly right. I guess I don't mean the same ability wise, but play style wise, they're similar types of players. So I that's the one pickup I do like for them is Gabe Vincent. I like Gabe Vincent on the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. And then moving on to the Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors got Draymond Green back, which is huge for them, considering he was talking about leaving and possibly going elsewhere. Apparently having dinner with Damian Lillard in Portland. So I think Draymond returning to Golden State is huge for Golden State. They did lose Dante DiVincenzo to a pretty big contract to the Knicks. Dante's pretty underrated. Then they lost Ty Jerome, but they signed Corey Joseph. So
that moves the needle, dude.
I'm not a big Corey Joseph fan. I remember he was on the Pacers. He's just the most bland player of all time.
Since they got Corey Joseph, I think that they're now my finals favorites.
Yeah, exactly. So. Honestly, heck, he'll probably be the backup point guard. No, they did just draft that one dude with a weird name. Do you guys know his name?
Mm-mm.
He has a weird last name. But I'll look it up here in a second.
They drafted Trace Jackson Davis.
So what do you guys think about? They did draft Trace Jackson Davis. What do you guys think about Draymond Green returning to the Golden State Warriors? While I looked this up,
I thought he was going to take a pay cut, but he didn't. And I think as valuable as he is, you kind of have to bring him back. Just you need the veteran leadership. They got Chris Paul, but I don't know. I feel like it's too much to pay for Draymond.
What is
honestly?
Brandon Podziemski.
Oh yeah, from Santa Clara.
Yeah, he's a baller. It's not hearing.
Yeah, for sure.
Over 40% from 3. And so I think apparently that's a good draft pick. Everybody's been talking him up, and he has a little bit of height to him. I think he could be a pretty good player. They're saying.
Yeah, he can win you some bets. But yeah, I bringing Draymond Green back is it's probably a needed move for them. But kind of to build off your point as far as him taking a pay cut, if he can get paid and they get to keep him, beautiful for both sides.
And they probably had to pay him that
Right.
just because other teams like Portland, like the Kings, were probably trying to pull him away.
Exactly.
So that's probably what they had to pay him.
Ooh, he'd be a really nice fit on the Kings.
Yeah, he
I'd
would.
like him.
So I want
I'd
to talk
love
about
that.
two more teams, just two more. I want to talk about the Miami Heat, and then I want to move to the Boston Celtics.
Let's do it.
So talking about the Miami Heat, they lost Max Strus. Pretty big loss.
Yeah.
I think he's actually a really good player. He's a 3-and-D guy. Lakers should have been all over him.
Yeah.
But Max Strus goes to Cleveland. Very good pickup for Cleveland. Gabe Vincent obviously is gone to the Lakers, we just talked about. Kevin Love returns to the Heat. I think that's a good pickup for them. I think he did everything they need him to do. They signed Josh Richardson. That's a huge sign, I think, for the Miami Heat. They also get Thomas Bryant to replace Cody Zeller because Cody Zeller's out.
Probably an upgrade.
Which is an upgrade, so good for them. And then they lost a couple lower bench players. So I think the Miami Heat, Josh Richardson, Thomas Bryant, and they re-signed Kevin Love. I think that's good so far. And then with the talks of them getting Damian Lillard.
Well, they're throwing all their chips in though. They're gonna be looking rough if they don't get Damian Lillard. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, according to Woj, right, the Portland Trailblazers aren't honoring Damian Lillard's request to the Heat, which could mean two things. Number one, they aren't honoring his request, or number two, they're just trying to build leverage to up the Heat's offer. Because I'm sure at this point the Trailblazers have already talked to the Heat. So my guess is the Trailblazers were like to Woj. They were like, "Hey, we're not only trading him to the Heat." And then the Heat hear that, they're like, "Oh crap, we need him." They up their offer. That's my guess. Is building that leverage. But one thing that kind of also arose during the free agency was, did you guys see Dropping Dimes 20 on Twitter? Did you guys see that Twitter account? Mm-hmm. It's like the Trilly Donovan of NBA. He was calling things on Twitter like 4 days before they'd happen. Like he called Damian Lillard like the trade request 4 days before it happened. But he had all kinds of things like
the
that.
Simpsons.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. I think he's obviously some like insider or something. But yeah, he was calling those things like so long before they happened.
Yeah, and then so talking like the Heat, I think if they don't get Damian Lillard though, I think they can always have a chance at James Harden though. I know he's not the type of player of the Heat, but
I hope they do that.
Thing is though, Eric Spoelstra, I feel like he can turn guys into people though. I mean, like I
don't know. I don't think you can teach that old dog new tricks.
Here's my thing. I think they're not going to go for James Harden.
No, but I'm just saying though, that is a backup.
He is
plan.
not a Heat culture.
I think on paper that'd be such a good thing. Like on paper, him on the Heat, beautiful.
I'm just saying
though.
He does help your team more than hurt, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you're I'm just saying though, if you're putting all your chips in, you've only gotten 3 players and you've lost quite a bit.
Right.
I mean, that's always an option. You can go get James Harden because he's sign and trade. That they've already signed him, but they're looking to trade him now. So he's always an option if Damian Lillard doesn't fit there. Because I mean, same position. Both are pretty elite scorers. One's fell off more off the years, but at least he has been more healthy here of late, though.
Yeah.
James Harden has, but he's still.
I think on paper it'd be great on the Heat, but I just don't think they'd ever go for him, even if they didn't get Lillard.
Yeah, exactly. So the last team I want to talk about is the Boston Celtics. They've been pretty quiet in free agency. They've got O'Shea Brissett we talked about earlier, and then they got Delano Banton. I don't even know who that is. But so main thing I want to talk about with them is O'Shea Brissett. I think that's a good quality backup. I think he'll be kind of take that Grant Williams role because he does have that.
You know what he
Grant
is?
Williams is still there as of now.
You know what O'Shea Brissett is? Perfect Jaylen Brown replacement. Perfect
Yeah, exactly.
Jaylen Brown replacement.
It'd been better if Pacers signed and traded him.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
No, I think. But I'm just saying though, Grant Williams is most likely still out. They're looking for a trade partner, I believe. So I think O'Shea Brissett will fit his role and be a 10, 15-minute guy for the backup 4. So now I want to talk about, you said it, Jaylen Brown. So Jaylen Brown, I'm hearing, what is the latest news on Jaylen Brown?
Things are getting weird. I, as a Celtics fan, I was really hoping he would have signed that extension by now because it's been said a lot of times, so many NBA teams would give up everything to have what the Celtics have in a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, both entering their primes, 26 and 25 years old, I think, but he still hasn't signed it. And recent reports now say that Brad has engaged in trade talks with the Trailblazers about Damian Lillard. And I don't really know how to feel about that because Jaylen Brown, like I said, is 26 years old. Damian Lillard's 32 years old. And I'd imagine you'd have to give up Jaylen Brown in that Damian Lillard trade, especially since he hasn't signed his extension. So, I don't know. I don't like that move to pivot off of Brown, but I guess you kind of have to look at it as this same team that we've been running it back with the past couple of years hasn't gotten it done. And we already moved Smart out of there, so maybe they just want to try something different and see how it goes. And I would assume Damian Lillard would probably only be there for 2 years maybe. And then you probably bring someone else in after that. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to find guys to pair up with Jason Tatum. People want to play with him. But, yeah, it's getting kind of interesting. I don't know what Brad's doing. I don't know what Jaylen Brown's doing. Yeah, we'll have to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, I was trying to check my phone to see if my my best source dropping dimes 20 said anything. The service isn't working out here, but I think to me, I think it's a lock that Lillard's going to go to the Heat, just because, like, when was the last time a star in the NBA didn't get what they want?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So I think that's just the way the NBA is. It's just such a star-focused league. They usually get what they want, but the Celtics are in uncharted territory, but they do have a generational player in Tatum. Or they have I'd say generational. He's a great talent in Tatum, so I think they're okay. No matter what they do, I think they're okay, but they can get better, but they can certainly also get worse if they lost Brown for a bunch of scrubs.
Well, earlier in the offseason, Damian Lillard said on Instagram Live that he was not going to Boston. He did not want to play for Boston.
He came out and said he only wants to go to the Heat. He said that.
But apparently Jason Tatum's been trying to recruit Dame.
Gotcha.
So my thing is about this situation, I think the Celtics are in the getting Damian Lillard does not fix the problem. Jaylen Brown shoots a lot. Damian Lillard shoots a lot. Jason Tatum shoots a lot. There's only so many shots in a game. I think they need to go out and get. If you're going to trade Jaylen Brown, you need to go to like the Brooklyn Nets. Go get Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and maybe even another player, and go get somebody like that. Go get Mikal Bridges and Dorian Finney-Smith for Jaylen Brown and 2 future first-round picks or something. I think you need to get, kind of like we were saying with the Lakers, you need to go get guys to build around Tatum, so where Tatum can shoot his 25, 30, 40 shots a game, but then he can distribute to shooters around. I think that is what the Boston Celtics need to do, because obviously what they've done the last 6 years, 5 years, however long he's been there, they've gotten far in the playoffs, but it only gets them so far because of something. They're not doing something right. That is personally what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So that brings us to today's game. Me and Carson have switched seats, but we're going to be playing
Welcome
a game.
to the couch, brother.
I hate this.
Welcome to the couch,
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a little different. It'll take some getting used to, but we're going to be playing a game of guessing what number these athletes share. I'm going to give them an athlete, one football player, one baseball player, and one basketball player, and they're going to have to guess what number they 3 share. Are you ready to get into it?
I'm good.
Stop messing with each other over there.
Let's do it. We're not messing with anybody.
The first one, Matt Chapman, the baseball player, Saquon Barkley, the football player, and Spencer Dinwiddie, the basketball player. What number do they share?
Saquon gives it away.
Dinwiddie for me.
Dinwiddie? 26.
26.
26 is correct.
Great.
Next one, Ronald Acuna, Bam Adebayo,
I think I'm
and
good at
Mike
this.
Evans.
Maybe this is really easy.
13.
80.
13.
Just kidding, guys. 13.
Next one.
You can angle your board down now.
You can shut your mouth.
Next one, Michael Porter Jr., Tua Tagovailoa, and Ozzie Albies.
I think it's a trick question.
6.
13.
It's number 1.
There's a 1 in mine.
You tricked us. That's a trick question. Wait,
Yeah.
why did I say 6? Who was the first one?
Michael Porter Jr.,
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa,
Oh.
Ozzie Albies.
Oh.
Next one, Marlon Humphrey, Ellie De La Cruz, Robert Williams.
I already said this earlier.
Fo.
Put those 4s up. 4-4.
Put him up, Jaden. Put him up, Carson.
Shut up.
All right. Next one, Christian Watson, R.J. Barrett, Matt McClain.
Matt McClain.
You're so silly, dude.
It's the same again?
Christian Watson, R.J. Barrett, Matt McClain.
Uh-oh. Got him.
I know. Who is the... Christian Watson, Matt McClain, who's the other one?
R.J. Barrett.
You don't know this.
It's either 6 or 8.
What'd you guess?
8.
It's 9.
9.
Dang.
9 is correct.
I knew it was single digit too.
Next one. T. Higgins, Paulo Banchero, Freddie Freeman.
T. Higgins.
Yep.
Huh?
Recently had a number change.
Oh, this year?
Yep.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Old T. Higgins was like 85.
80.
It
Yeah,
was.
yeah, 85.
I was about to say, what? I know Freddie Freeman ain't no 85.
I know
So-
Paulo he wears a weird number. Paulo Banchero, doesn't he?
Freddie Freeman and who?
No.
Paulo Banchero?
Paulo Banchero.
Hmm.
I
Banchero,
got my guess.
Freeman. Freeman. I think it's 30 or 33.
I guess 0.
5.
Huh.
This one's admittedly difficult.
Okay.
Unless you
get
know
it.
one of them.
I'll get it.
DeAndre Swift, Tyrese Maxey, Marcus Stroman.
Swift. I think it's 0.
I think it's 46.
Is 0.
Maxi. That's what gave it away for me. Give me that 4 points.
Ja Morant, Chris Olave, Francisco Lindor.
It's old JT Frass favorite number.
11.
13.
It's the middle one, 12.
Oh.
What?
Yep.
Who was it again?
Chris Olave, Ja Morant, Francisco Lindor.
Why did I think Ja was 13? 'Cause I guess he's bad luck.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Next one
He's
is
so bad luck.
Aaron Gordon, Adam Wainwright, and Vita Vea.
You seem pretty.
All right.
You seem pretty
99.
negative. 50.
50.
Aaron Gordon, 50.
Oh, I was thinking of Aaron Judge.
Oh, that's why you said all rise.
Yeah, that's why I said all rise. I thought it was Aaron Judge.
Yeah, you got him.
You
got him.
What are we tied? No, you do not have 5, dude.
Yeah, huh?
No, you don't.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to check the instant replay at the
Yep.
One last question for all the marbles, I guess you could say.
And this one's worth 2 points, right?
in your head, maybe.
Yeah.
Sweet.
LaMelo Ball, Marquise Brown, and Alex Bregman.
I know it too. Jake's scared. You like that, don't you?
00.
Number 1.
Is number 2.
Gosh!
To end off, for our last segment of today's show, we're actually going to start a new series that we're going to follow in the next 8 episodes, right? And we're going to talk about each. We're going to spend every episode talking about one division. So first off, actually, it's going to follow that exact order up there. So today we're going to actually just going to talk shop about the AFC East. Or just talk about maybe some predictions, some players we like, some teams that we think are overhyped, underhyped, players, whatever it is. There's no really structure. We're just talking about them. So I guess I can go ahead and get the conversation started. Probably the talk of the town right now, the cock of the walk, you could say. In the NFL, the New York Jets, the New York Football Jets. They're who's everybody's talking about. So Jaden, and this is going to be a really tough question, all right? It's going to be a tough one. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he's good at football or not?
I do think he's good at football.
Oh, wow. Breaking news.
Especially if he takes a trip down to South America.
No kidding.
Gets a good little
He
brew
loves
going.
ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, if he can get back-to-back MVPs, I might have to try some at some point.
Yeah.
When it becomes legal, of course.
Of course.
But I think this Jets team that he's a part of is far better than the past several Packers teams. he was on the Packers. They wouldn't get him a receiver. They wouldn't get the guys he wanted. Now he's got a legit defense. He brought over the players from Green Bay that he wanted. He's got just so much talent. I mean, Breece Hall is coming off of an ACL tear, but from what I've heard, it was a pretty clean tear.
Right.
And he should be good to go this season. He should be pretty close to 100% the whole season. So
it just makes me like, it almost. This is weird to say, but it makes my like insides quiver, like thinking about how good they are. Because roster wise, Aaron Rodgers aside, they're like an insanely good.
Well, they almost made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, with garbage cans as quarterbacks.
Mike White, Zach Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but their roster is so good. Carson, what is a player like? Who do you think? Aaron Rodgers aside, who do you think is going to make the biggest impact for them? Maybe first off defensively and also offensively.
So offensively, I want to start off with a couple guys. I have two guys in mind, and they're both from the wide receiver core. I think, obviously, I'm not going to say Garrett Wilson, because obviously he's been there.
He's the obvious answer.
But I want to say, I think Alan Lazard actually brings a big impact to them. He's not, and what's crazy, he's not going to have 1,000 yards. I'm not going to say that. He's not going to have 1,000 yards. He's going to have touchdowns, but he is the best run-blocking wide receiver. And I think that actually plays a huge factor, and a lot of people don't actually know this.
Right.
But, when you have blocking tight ends, or blocking receivers.
But tight ends too. Tight ends
exactly.
As well. Yeah.
It makes your run game even better.
Right.
And when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, look at the Green Bay Packers in the past couple of years with A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, Alan Lazard, all these blocking wide receivers, Romeo Doubs, all these big guys. It helps the run game. And then whenever you go out to block, and then next thing you know, it's a play action, they're thinking the defensive backs are coming out because you're putting your hands up thinking it's a block. You go around them. Yeah. So I think this is going to help the Jets' offense tremendously. Defensively, I think.
And you can't say Sauce. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say Sauce. They got Quinnen Williams still,
right.
And I think Quinnen Williams is obviously he's gonna have more help now because the Jets. The biggest thing with the Jets defense, they've been good for a while. The problem is with the Jets defense, they're on the field so much in the past. Now they're not going to be on the field so much. Aaron Rodgers likes to milk the clock, especially later in his career now.
Yeah.
He likes to run the ball, so that's going to help the Jets defense. So I think the Jets defense is going to be a really improved defense next year. And then one more thing I want to talk about. It's not offense, it's not defense. It's for the brand. They got a new punter, Thomas Morstead. And Thomas Morstead, Super Bowl kicker, or punter, I think he is actually going to be a big player for them. Anytime... you got to win at all three phases to win a game. And I think, actually, Thomas Morstead is actually a big signing for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just to talk about, also their offensive line, good offensive line.
Young, too.
Yeah, they're going to bring back Mekhi Becton, Louisville legend. They're going to bring him back.
What's to do with three names?
Elijah Vera Tucker. Elijah Vera Tucker.
He's good.
Like a really solid offensive line. So they're a dangerous team. Next, let's talk about a team that everybody always expects to be good, and they always are good, but then they never end up being as good as they should have been. The Bills. So Carson, I'm going to shoot to you first. Give me the state of the Bills. What do you think? Do you think they're the same old Bills this year, or do you think that they are going to take maybe a next step to maybe even an AFC championship? Maybe the Super Bowl?
So I think the Bills they're going to be most likely probably your favorite to win it all in the sports book. Do I think they're going to get it done? No. I think anytime Patrick Mahomes is in the AFC, I think it's going to be difficult for any team. However, Josh Allen, I think, does have a great year again. I think he had a great year last year. They have a question mark at the running back spot right now. I think that they're starting running backs James Cook and that Damian Harris. So I think they're going to be alternating there. Damian Harris, if he can stay on the field, will definitely help. Obviously, he led the league in touchdowns a couple of years ago. Obviously, their wide receivers, Diggs, they had a little follow through with Diggs, but I think he's back now. Yeah, so he's good. They got, I think one of their biggest sleepers, though, is actually their tight end, and Kincaid. I think Dalton Kincaid will be a huge pickup for the Buffalo Bills, as much as they like to throw.
Right.
And I think Dawson Knox will be more of their tight end number 2 now and be more of a blocker for the run game. I think Kincaid will be the big impact on their offense. And defensively, they didn't really lose much. So
they had one huge loss. Their D coordinator. Remember
Leslie
Frazier?
Yeah.
And there was some, I think on the Pat McAfee show they were talking about, there was kind of some drama surrounding that. Because apparently in those last 13 seconds, it was against the Chiefs, right? That 13 seconds, Sean McDermott took over play calling from Leslie Frazier, and he wasn't happy about that. And apparently last year, something similar happened where Sean McDermott took over play calling.
With Sean McDermott though isn't a bad. I mean, he ain't a bad coach though. So
he's not a bad coach. But it was just, I guess it's more just interesting how Leslie Frazier, he just kind of left, and like everybody's like, oh my gosh, he left family reasons. Hopefully everything's okay. So we'll see where they stand defensively. But not really not much movement.
They didn't really lose much.
They didn't lose much. They didn't gain much.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you'll definitely see the Bills probably.
Same old Bills.
I think you'll see the same old Bills. I think with Josh Allen as quarterback.
For sure.
I think it's really up to what you talked about, the running back room being a question mark. I'm not a big James Cook guy. He's a guy that's never gotten more than, I think, 14 carries in a college or NFL game. He's mainly just a receiving back, so he's not my guy that I think will break out. I do think Damon Harris could be a big guy for them.
He stays healthy.
I think they have to establish the run. Last year, a lot of the reason why they failed was because everybody knows they pass every single play pretty much. They can't establish the run, so they have to do that this year. They have to have a more balanced approach if they want to make a deep playoff run.
Well, and the other thing is they have to establish the run without murdering Josh Allen. Because, like, there are some hits he takes where it's like they're murders, right? So they got to be able to establish that run without murdering him. Anything else on the Bills, Carson?
No.
Good? All right, next up is, apparently Tua Tagovailoa has been taking jiu-jitsu to learn how to fall better. That's the rumors. So, what do you think, Jaden? What do you think the Dolphins, like, they got better. They got Jalen Ramsey. But really the big question mark is Tua, right? Like, that's kind of the big if for them. So, just give me some words on the Dolphins.
Yeah. Can I just say first, this division, just those three that we've talked about now, the Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins, that is a tight race.
Is this the best division? Is this the best division in football?
I think there's a really good argument for it to be.
Carson?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet? Well, I mean, you can't tell me 16 weeks into the season. Talent-wise,
when we dive into more, I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll probably let you know at the end of the 8.
Okay.
When we're at the end of the series.
Cool.
When we're at the end of the
That's
series.
something to look
What
forward
did you
to.
ask me, though?
Tua, I was just wondering about Tua. What do you think the keys are for Tua and I guess overall Dolphins?
Well, my thoughts on Tua is that when he's been on the field, they've been incredible.
Lights out, like a Lamborghini.
Yeah. I mean, he was a great prospect in college. He shined at Alabama, took over Jalen Hurts, who was amazing last year in the NFL. But when he's healthy, he's able to just drop the ball off on time to his playmakers, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and they just get it done. They were an electric offense last season before those concussions came in. And I think if they can keep him on the field, I saw he put on some weight, so hopefully he can absorb those hits a little better. And I think they have, I would pick them to win this division, me personally. I like the Dolphins.
Interesting. Carson, what do you think about that?
So I think what about him saying that?
Saying that, what do you think about that?
I don't agree with it. I think quarterback play always comes in first, and I think Tua is the weakest. He's not worse than Mac Jones, but he's the third best in that division, and I think that comes down to it. But I do think they have the best roster in the whole division, though. I do think that. But I think quarterback play is bigger than a roster. I really do think that. Yeah. And so I think, yes, can you win games, obviously, with a weaker quarterback, Jared Goff, Rams? I think, yes, you can win. But I don't think Tua is the guy. He has to show me he can play a full season first. Deep ball, I mean, yes, he showed it off a little bit last year with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, but I think that's going to be a big factor for them. I think their run game's pretty much established. I think Mike McDaniel did a really good job bringing in that 49ers run game there because they ran the ball really well with whoever was running. I mean, they had 6-7 different running backs last year.
They got Devon A-Chain, and that guy.
He's so fast.
So I think their run game's going to be fine. I think actually the big thing with them is it's going to be a little weird, but I think the big thing with them is can they hit on their deep balls? I think that's actually a big...
Tua actually last year led the NFL in 40-plus yard touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm saying this year, though.
Fine to me.
I'm saying this year, though. I think this year is going to be the big factor for
Tyreek Hill, his deep balls are just so... They're so good. Like,
it's
they're so deep.
It's what Mahomes always says. I'm on... Chuck it up there. He's out there somewhere.
Exactly. I mean, all their deep balls.
He can go get
their
it.
balls. They haven't figured it out.
I'm just saying though.
I
think that's going to be the big.
Specific, like from a ball level, all their deep balls are so good.
I just think it's
scaring me.
I just think that's the biggest thing for them. I think is actually going to be the deep ball because I think obviously they're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be fine there. But when teams start packing in that box, that's when you're going to have to let it fly to Jalen Waddle. Do they still have Cedric Wilson and Tyreek Hill? I think they do.
So
all those three guys, they're all deep threats. I think that's when you got to let Rock go, and I think that's going to be a huge factor for them. Defensively, obviously they got Jalen Ramsey, who's still playing at a top tier player.
That secondary is insane.
Xavier Howard's one of the best.
Javon Holland.
He could play. Yeah. Xavier Howard could be a wide receiver for 90% of the NFL teams.
Yeah, I mean, he runs the routes for him.
He does run the routes, so I think they're a very good team, and I think you could see them maybe slide into a wild card.
So here's my thing. So I just thought of this. All right, so hear me out. I think the Dolphins are like I said earlier, a Lamborghini. I think that's if they're like a Lamborghini. Super fast, looks beautiful, but oil change. If you have to get your oil changed in a Lamborghini, if you have engine troubles in a Lamborghini, oh my gosh, we're in huge trouble. All these troubles start to come as you drive your Lamborghini, and it starts to get more expensive and more tax, and it costs more. So I think I'd equate them to, if I could equate them in any car, it'd be a Lamborghini.
Well, I would agree with that. I think they have the highest ceiling in the division, but they also have the lowest floor.
Right.
Well, that, and then also they got a lot of ego too. So I mean. It might you think about it, it's like, oh, that's cheesy, ego, but it plays a factor. And I think, look at Jalen Ramsey, he's had a couple ego problems. Tyreek Hill's had a couple problems.
Well, especially with if Mike McDaniel continues to be a weirdo, it's not gonna work out.
What's wrong with Julian on the sideline?
He's got to grow up a little bit.
What's
he's got to be the man in the room.
Sideline?
I mean, I've never been obviously in a team meeting with him, but from what I've seen. Ooh, he's got to be a man in the room. He's got to establish himself as more of a man in the room. Yeah. And the last thing. All right, enough about your guy. Last things last. They're actually celebrating Tom Brady Week 1. The New England Patriots. Now these are not the Tom Brady New England Patriots. These are very different New England Patriots. We've seen 2 years of Mac Jones. We see a we see a team that next year is going to have the highest cap in the NFL. What do you guys think about the New England Patriots?
Well, the first thing that sticks out to me when I think about the New England Patriots is a lot of their team is still the same, but I do expect Ramondre Stevenson to be the guy. He should be a breakout star this year. They don't really have much competition in that backfield, so he's set up to be pretty much a bell cow, and that's rare to see.
For sure.
And then I think anytime you talk about the Patriots, yes, they probably have the worst roster out of this division, but the thing is they have Bill Belichick. You can't roll out a good coach. Never. I don't think. I think when you get, it's kind of like Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra had probably one of the worst rosters in the NBA, in the playoffs. But Cody Zeller, all these backup players, they're getting in the finals. So I think you can't ever roll out a good coach. I'm not going to say they're going to the Super Bowl, but I think you can't roll them out. And I think Bill Belichick's a winner. So I think Mac Jones is going to have a better year this year. I don't think he won't be worrying about his job. I think he'll be fine. I think all this new coordinator stuff, because I know there was a lot of coordinator issues last year, a lot of first-time callers. I think didn't they get Bill O'Brien back?
Yeah, offensive coordinator.
So I think
pickup.
Exactly. So I think that's huge for the Patriots. Not a lot of people are talking about that. So I think you'll see a lot better Mac Jones, considering I believe that was his coach at Alabama.
Bill, yeah.
I think it was.
Sounds right.
I think you
maybe.
might have to check on that.
But anyway, I mean, at the end of the day, any time that your offensive coordinator is a defensive coordinator, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an issue. So Bill O'Brien should, because look at how he played under McDaniel. He had a really good season his first year. So I think that's a big pickup. And then who is their D coordinator now? Is it Steve Belichick?
Bill calls the plays.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Or is it Gerard Mayo? Like their title D coordinator?
I honestly have no idea. I know Bill Belichick's the caller and Steve Belichick's making lip movements.
Chewing on his tongue or whatever.
Yeah, so, Bill Belichick's the defensive caller, and I think he pretty much does everything defensively. Whoever's the defense coordinator is just getting a good paycheck just to be called defense coordinator.
I once saw him live, Steve Belichick. He's a maniac before the games.
Really?
Maniac before the games. I saw him at the Colts game, and he's crazy before the games.
Is he working out?
He's wearing his sweatpants, his mullet's flying around. He's just being crazy. He's just doing what crazy guys do. You know? But yeah, so the AFC East, arguably one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL, maybe the most. We'll find out in about eight episodes when we wrap it up. But before we end off, Carson.
Yeah, so I want to get. So now that we're through it, I want to get through. What do you guys think? Who's gonna?
You want to order the standings?
Yes, that's what I was gonna do.
Good call.
And I just want to go. We're gonna do this every episode till we get to the final. We'll go through and see who do you think the order of your standings are gonna be.
I'll start.
AFC East.
AFC East. All right, I got the Jets are number 1. Aaron Rodgers, insane roster. A coach that I think gets it. I think Bob Saleh gets it. Offensive coordinator that Rodgers is comfortable with. I like the Jets at number 1. Number 2, the Bills. Now the Bills are going to be the Bills, I believe. Again, they're going to be the Bills. They're going to make it to like the conference final or the conference finals, maybe the the semifinals of the conference. And they're going to lose, but I think that they're going to be another 12-win team in the NFL, 13 wins, whatever it takes. Number 3, I think the Patriots. I think the Patriots number 3, and I think the Dolphins number 4. I just don't trust the Dolphins. I think Mike McDaniel's a cornball. And I just, like I said, I think they're a Lamborghini, and when things start to go wrong with the Lamborghini, it starts to lose its value a lot, and it starts to become a lot worse. So, again, Jets, Bills, Patriots, and I got the Dolphins being the 4. And like I said, one of those divisions that's like, holy cow, like, this is a juggernaut division. Like, I think that they have 3 playoff teams in this division, probably. Or at least the Patriots, like, right on the cusp of it. So, again, Jets, Bills, Patriots, Dolphins.
Well, I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to stick to it. It's risky, but I agree that 3 of these teams will probably make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're kind of interchangeable. I think it'll be the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins. Will all 3 make the playoffs? And I'm a man of my word. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to say the Dolphins are going to stay healthy, and they're going to be the number 1 team. That could be horribly wrong, but that's what I'm saying.
Tua's been taking jiu-jitsu, dude. He knows how to fall.
Well, yeah. I mean, who's taking him?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to go Dolphins, Bills, Jets, Patriots. That's my order.
Okay, and then so with mine, I'm going to go Buffalo is my 1. 2 is the New York Jets. 3 is the Miami Dolphins. 4, Patriots. However, I really do think you have 4 winning seasons in that division.
Oh wow!
I
Yeah.
think you really do. I think you'll see a lot of splits in that division. I just think, and you could easily see 3 playoff teams in that division. So,
I don't care. Like, I don't care how bad you think the Dolphins are or how good you think they are. You go to Miami, it's tough to win there.
Yeah, with the weather, it's so hot.
It's
on
so
one side
tough
of
to
the field.
win there. So
well, that and then just the change of you got Miami and then you got New England, and
Exactly.
it's a huge difference, especially in December football.
Yeah.
I mean, you go from 85 degrees to under 0.
Yeah, literally.
So I think in that division you got a lot. Same thing with Buffalo. I really do see 3 playoff teams and possibly 4 winning records. So I think it's going to be a close division, and we'll see what happens.
The last episode we talked about regatta. I'm surprised we actually haven't touched on it yet, but I just want to kind of see what you guys feel about this year's regatta.
So I think the biggest thing about this year's regatta that was pretty crazy was the flip. The flips all around the world.
Was big.
That was insane. And I just want to who what was that? J. Michael Kelly?
No,
Dustin Eccles.
Dustin Eccles.
Dustin Eccles. Here's the crazy thing about Dustin. Not only can he flip, he landed that bad boy. That was like
He started driving again.
that was so crazy. That was so crazy. But I think we need a little bit more from the Miss Madison. She's we don't like it when she loses. Let's put it that way. We don't like it when she loses, even if it's close. We don't like it when she loses. But yeah, that's my extent of the regatta knowledge.
Yeah, and then my thing. Well, what was annoying about it is obviously if you were there, Madison was actually in first place.
Right.
And so Dylan Runny wasn't in first all week. And actually, the one time we had a good race, there was a flip, obviously, and I'm glad he's okay. Obviously, that's the number one most important thing. Dustin was okay, but it just stinks that our blue boat, Madison's boat, was in first all weekend. Had the inside lane, everything was set up perfect. As a H1 rookie, he was going to win it. And it might have been the youngest of all time, honestly, to win it.
I mean, what is it? This is his 3rd or 4th race.
2nd.
Really?
Yeah, because Gunnersville was his first one.
That's insane.
Yeah, so this kid almost got his first win probably in his career in H1, obviously, and it could have been at his hometown boat. I think it would have been huge for Madison. But like I said, I'm glad Dustin's okay. And Regatta was one heck of a time. Crazy storms, classic Indiana weather.
Lots of cornhole.
If you don't know what it is, still look it up. Pat McAfee show retweeted it. The flip. TMZ reposted the clip. So go look at that. I'm telling you, it was a big deal. Governor Holcomb was there. It was a good little experience.
Yeah, I mean, things didn't go as planned. The weather didn't cooperate with us. We had some delays. My power went out one of the days, but yeah, we had a rookie driver, so we didn't get the result we wanted. But it's, like you said, it's just about the people, everybody coming together, playing some cornhole, eating some good food, and music festival. It's just all around a great time. And yeah, I think Regatta was a success again. I can't wait till this time next year.
All right, and then you want to get to final words?
Yeah, that brings us to final words. You guys have anything to say?
Yeah, I'm happy to be back on the podcast. This new couch is sweet. Love to actually officially be the coaches from the couch. It's pretty nice.
Fits the brand.
I love being back, and can't wait for Tuesday to film our next podcast.
Thursday.
And I'll just say, Happy Independence Day. It is the 4th of July.
Oh, I'm an asshole.
So, yeah. well, I have to say it because he has an American flag shirt. He has an American flag hat.
How patriotic am I today, baby?
Yeah.
Look at that.
You're very colorful and patriotic. So, yeah, go enjoy your fireworks, your grilling, whatever you do on 4th of July, celebrating our independence. Yeah, that's my final words.
All right, and then I'm just going to say enjoy 4th of July. Go shoot some fireworks. Make sure the dogs are inside.
Hell yeah.
I can tell you right now, my dogs don't like fireworks.
Shoot them up on stable surfaces.
Exactly.
Right?
Watch. Be careful. Don't hurt yourself. I like 5 fingers on one hand, like Jason Pierre-Paul. Don't ask him about that.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, make sure your dogs are all right.
Yep.
I mean, put them inside. Let them lay down. Let them lay next to the
Sensitive
fan. And then Thursday we got Q&A, so let the questions roll.
Yeah, ask us more questions.
It'll be in the bottom of this video or in our video link
we'll get it
or something.
out.
Yep, you'll see it somewhere. Let us know. Ask questions Thursday.
And then to end this podcast off, in remembrance of Independence Day, we're all going to sing the national anthem.
Okay.
Oh, say can.